Discipline is for losers. Choice is a much better way to live life. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm going to explain this to you and I'm going to prove to you that actually by shifting from discipline to building and setting up systems that make you choose the right thing to work on, your life can be a lot better. And before I go ahead and explain to you how you're going to do that, well, you may wonder, why should I listen to you? I graduated my PhD when I was 26 years old. By the time I was 27, I was a NASA postdoctoral fellow. By the time I was 28, I scaled my business 7 figures part-time while having a full-time job. Actually, my very last month, we did $750,000 per month while I still had a full-time job because I was so good at building systems that made me choose to do the right thing every single day, despite being the most undisciplined person in the world. And before I give you more context on this, I need you to understand something. People look at my success, especially at an early stage in life, and they're like, oh, this guy achieved blah, 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 he must be so disciplined. Not true at all. I am really, really undisciplined without my systems. And what I mean by that is if you just were to drop me off in a new place randomly, or like, I don't know, if I go travel somewhere, whatnot, and I don't have things that help me choose the right things, then I'm just gonna do the worst things ever. I'm gonna probably eat not great food. I'm gonna probably do stupid things. I'll probably spend a lot of time on my phone. I'm probably gonna play video games for 6-7 hours. I'll play chess. I'll do a lot of things that just don't actually move the needle towards my work. And before, when I tried to be disciplined and I tried to push myself to do it, that would work for a little bit, and then I would just hate myself and I would hate doing the work. And I just felt like that's not a good way to live life. And I know that there's a lot of people who are oh, you gotta be disciplined, you gotta push yourself and you gotta do that. And I'm like, dude, okay, maybe you can do that once or twice, but life is short and you have one life. And I don't know about you, but I want to enjoy my life. And life is 99% journey, 1% outcome. And the outcome is you're going to die. So why not enjoy your stay on this earth while achieving your goals? That's kind of the thing I thought about deeply. What if there was a way to actually enjoy yourself and enjoy life while achieving crazy things? And that's exactly what I did. That's why I was able to scale a company $750,000 per month while having a great time, while spending time with my friends, while producing music and being a DJ, while traveling 35 countries, while spending plenty of my time with my family. And that's because I figured out something early on, is that instead of pushing yourself to do something, just freaking set up a system to help you choose the right thing. And I'm gonna explain to you what choice actually means. But before I explain choice, you need to understand how humans operate, right? Us as humans, especially if you're someone higher up on the ADHD spectrum, or if you're a neurodivergent person in general, we are very influenced by the external world to make our day-to-day choices. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand, which is they think their day-to-day behavior and the things that they do and the things that they choose to do is just themselves choosing it. And there's a tiny bit of truth to that. For example, you are in a way always choosing. However, if you were to look at things from an outside perspective, if I was an outsider looking at you, and for example, let's say it's 11 p.m. at night, and I have a cookie and I have a radish, and I'm gonna make a prediction on which one you're gonna choose. There's a likelihood that you're gonna choose the cookie just because it's in your face. However, if the cookie was not in your face and the radish was the only thing in there and you're actually really hungry, you would have eaten that radish. So what that really shows is humans are more likely to make choices due to external circumstances and external environments than their own choosing. Isn't that crazy? And I'll give you a few examples of, for example, how I do that. Right now in my apartment, I do not have a couch. Here, actually, I'm literally going to show you. I have this desk where I make my music. I have this desk where I sit down and work, and I have a piano and I have a guitar and I have a kitchen. And there is no couch inside. And there's a very simple reason for that. And although a lot of people think I'm crazy for that, but that's because if I had a couch and if I had a TV right here in my living room, guess what? I'm not going to sit down and do work, nor am I going to sit down and produce music. There's going to be option number 3, which is just sit on the couch and watch something. And if I'm tired on a Tuesday night and it's 10 p.m. and the world is against me and I'm like, oh man, life sucks, life is so hard, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna freaking sit down on the couch. I'm either gonna watch the TV or I'm gonna doom scroll on my phone. Usually doom scrolling happens either while you're on the couch or you're in bed, and we're gonna talk about bed in a little bit. But the idea is that one of the easiest things I do to be extremely productive and get a lot of things done is simply get rid of the things that make me unproductive. And I know this is crazy. I know society will tell you oh, but you need to have a life, but you need to enjoy yourself. But this is where I think a lot of people misunderstand the point. I don't think anyone enjoys doom scrolling. I don't think anyone enjoys binge watching shows for 5 hours and feeling like crap after it. I personally enjoy making music. I enjoy building great systems and doing great work on my computer. I enjoy playing the piano. I enjoy cooking myself very nice meals. I enjoy very good quality sleep. I enjoy working out, which I go to the gym for. I enjoy meeting with my friends. So I'm forced to like go outside and actually meet people. I enjoy calling my family. There's a lot of things that I basically made a list of all the things that I enjoy. And then I made a list of things that I don't enjoy. And the things that I don't enjoy, I just simply remove it from my periphery. So this is one example of how choice is better than discipline. Instead of like forcing myself to say, oh, I'm not gonna sit down and watch TV or doom scroll on my phone, I just get rid of the couch. And again, like think of me maybe more a little bit of an extreme case. You don't have to just go and get rid of like everything in your life, but the whole concept in here is that you first got to figure out what you want to do. Then you got to figure out what are the things in my external environment and in my periphery that are helping me achieve that, and what are the things that are not helping me achieve that, and you just go to war until you solve these things. That's basically like my approach. I'm basically like, okay, if this thing does not make my life better, why is it in my life? I'm just gonna relentlessly delete it. I'm gonna relentlessly get rid of it. I get it. For some people, they don't want to do that, and that's fine. You don't have to do that. But at least be mindful and understand that a lot of your behavior day to day is driven by external circumstances and external environments, and not through your own thing. So that's basically point number 1 on why choice beats discipline. Point number 2 on why choice beats discipline, outside this idea of external circumstances, is that choice is more fun than discipline. This is a very underrated concept, especially in business. One of my mantras in business is optimize for fun. And I'll explain what that means. People will say optimize for profit, optimize for cash, optimize for revenue, optimize for whatever, optimize for growth. And to me, these are all good output metrics, but the thing that actually drives revenue, drives growth, in my opinion, is how much fun are you actually having in your business. And that's why I optimize for fun. And I'll tell you a very simple story. There was a time in my business journey where I basically scaled from 0 to 100K per month pretty quickly, like probably like under a year or so. And I was just having a lot of fun in my business. I was basically like just focusing on making the products as good as possible. We basically build productivity systems to help humans, especially business owners, entrepreneurs, become more productive, get more things done, optimize their behavior. And that's something I obsess over. And in my first year in business, all I was focused on is just have as much fun while building the product, building the sales, building the marketing, doing all that. And then we hit a certain milestone where we did like 500K per month. And I was like, okay, I'm reaching a stage where like the company is like big enough. Let me just go and hire like a bunch of seasoned people to go and help me run the company. And I went and I hired like a sales director. I went and I hired a marketing director. And I tried to like place these quote managers and to create leverage for me so I can go move on and do other things. And I started noticing something interesting that was happening. They were doing things very different from how I do them. Like for example, my style of doing things is just like ruthless problem solving, identify the problem, solve it, ruthless focus, ruthless prioritization. And they were working on all these like nice to have ideas, or even when they were working on the right ideas, they were just not getting it done. And for the first month or two, I was like, oh man, maybe I need to be a better manager. Maybe I need to provide. So I would like provide all these resources, whatnot. I would like do endless coaching. But then there was a problem. I was starting to have less fun in my business because I'm like, instead of waking up and saying, man, I get to go and build awesome, cool things, I would wake up and tell myself, man, I have to like go and manage people I really don't want to manage. And I have to work with people that are just not that smart. They just don't get it. They're not as like, they're just not moving the needle in my business. And that made it not fun. I did not want to get on these meetings. I did not want to do all these things. And I would like temporarily say, oh, maybe I should just push through it. Like the business advice I would get is, oh man, you just gotta like train, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I don't like, and then one day I woke up and I was like, this is really not fun. Like if I had just complete choice, what would I want to do? What would I choose to do? And what I would choose to do is just simply not work with these people. So again, I reconfigured my company where I'm basically managing sales, marketing, and product. And I have amplifiers where I have exceptionally skilled people, very smart people, basically working with me kind of to manage those departments. And that just made the business a lot more fun. And now I don't have to discipline myself anymore. I don't have to like force myself to go to meetings that I don't want to go to, whatnot, simply because I made a choice and I'm choosing to do the right things. And I'm just enjoying my business a lot more. I'm having a lot more fun in what I'm doing. Another example of like why discipline is bad and choice is a good idea is my business meetings. I'll give you another example. So we used to have meetings at like 10 a.m., sometimes 11, sometimes 12, sometimes 9 a.m. But there's a problem. I'm a night owl. I like staying up late. Sometimes till 1 a.m., 2 a.m., sometimes till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Sometimes I go to bed at midnight. So it doesn't really, but the idea is that like I'm not in bed by 8 or 9 p.m. Like there's just no way. So like when I would have those meetings at 9, 10, 11 a.m., it was just, again, not fun. It was not fun at all because I would just wake up groggy. I would rush the meetings. I'd feel like my morning got hijacked, whatnot. So then guess what? My meetings now are 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and 6 p.m. And what that allows me to do is I made a choice. Instead of disciplining myself to wake up early in the morning like the gurus tell you to do, I was like, I'm just going to shift my business to have evening meetings instead. And my life is a lot better. We're making a lot better decisions. I'm in a much better mood going into the meetings. I'm making better decisions on these meetings. And we have the whole morning to ourselves as a company to actually go and do meaningful things. And then we talk about it in the evening. So the whole idea is that like whenever you hear a voice or a guru or someone in your head telling you, oh, you just gotta be disciplined, you just gotta push through, my advice is you gotta pause. You gotta like be like, okay, that's one approach. And maybe if it's like I don't know, if you're playing a sports game and it's like the last minute, yes, like in sports, especially when there's urgency, pushing through makes sense. But like pushing through is something you do once in a while. If you have to push through repeatedly and you're relying on this repeatedly, I promise you're gonna exhaust yourself and you're gonna hate yourself and you're gonna burn out. And even if you don't, you're just not gonna produce quality work. Because while you're disciplining yourself and you're like kind of in this like mental state trying to do work, you're competing with some guy out there who's having a great time, who's just choosing to work on their business, who's choosing to improve their product, who's choosing to improve their sales and marketing, who's choosing to like obsess over these kind of things. And the way they do it is they set up external systems that guide their behavior to doing the right things. And the best productivity advice I have for you is, instead of trying to discipline yourself, focus a lot more on designing and building external systems that just guide you to choosing to do the right things. If you take anything from this video and just do that, that's honestly the thing that's gonna move the needle. Now, if you don't want to do that yourself, if you don't want to waste years trying to figure out how to do that, you can work with me directly. We basically specialize in human behavior engineering through building external systems to make you the most productive version of yourself. I'm going to put a link for that so you can learn more about it. If not, that's totally okay. Please go ahead and keep watching the rest of my videos. And the last thing I was just leave you with, like as just a piece of advice, life is short. You want to enjoy life. Life is meant to be enjoyable. And don't get me wrong, like I work extremely hard. I value hard work. I value putting in the hours. I value these things. But I would much rather choose to do them than force myself to do them. That being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, love.